favor. This is one more, please.
I'm actually not gonna do an outline since I already know you. Y la banda ya te conoce.
I don't know what that means.
You don't know what that means. Hey man, there was a mastermind behind Groot TIFO.
The what?
The Groot. I am Groot TIFO.
The Groot.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a little bit. I know everybody pitched in. Everybody, you know, had a, you know, like some kind of part of it. But I remember you showing me the design without having to sign the NDA.
Okay.
You have to get a little closer though, because I can hear you.
A little more. Tell me.
Yeah,
Here, better.
Perfect. Yeah.
I think a lot of like you kind of just pitch ideas sometimes, and sometimes they're like really broad ideas. Sometimes they're a little more simple, but you also let people kind of say their piece, right? Like, hey, this could be cool if it's added. This could be like it ended up with like a little love ATX tattoo in the chest kind of thing. So the idea was a little smaller in this one, but we were still able to add designs in the mosaics in the background and little Easter eggs in it, right? The main message was kind of like intimidation, and the We Are Groot is, I haven't talked about this, I guess, like too publicly, but it's self-interpretation, right? Like the EC is We Are Austin, so We Are Austin is like a classic soccer phrase, right? It's almost Austin, We Are Austin. The world can see it as whatever they want to interpret it as, but the We Are Groot is that's the same in the films, right? Like he says We Are Groot and somebody translates, so and somebody understands it, so whoever wants to understand it and make whatever they want of it. Interesting
theory behind that We Are Groot.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's that We Are Austin, that a moment of union before the game that gets us to, you know, raise those levels of excitement to support our team. So, and definitely, like, I would love to know what a rival on the other side of the pitch thinks when they see that, right? Like, it's not something they will see very often as a rival or at home.
It was I got, you know, I shot the picture and the video from the other side and from the north.
Were you scared?
Nah, I knew it was gonna come out well. You were scared.
No, I'm not scared. No, I mean, they did intimidate you.
Dude, it was like pretty cool, because whenever I saw the graphic in your phone, I was like, dude, this is gonna be a huge one. It's gonna be like a memory that is gonna last, you know.
Yeah.
And then I got to see it a couple of days before when it was the practice, and it looked badass. And I'm like, now imagine this with like a stadium full. Yes, it hasn't been the best results, but a stadium full of people, like just that reaction, and they were like, Groot. So that was pretty cool.
And sometimes, like, you need that, right? Like, you need to put out something that people can relate to, and it just made sense for the team, right? I think at the end of the day, the idea is for like people to identify with these things, and I think it was a good thing, and we're trying to push the team forward, because it was kind of like a bit of a hiccup at that moment in the season, and we did go on a little bit of a run after that. Until Leagues Cup, right?
That's a different story.
Different story, yeah.
Hey, before anything, welcome to Otra, por favor. My name is Richie, and as you guys know, we have our podcast is about football, vida, and cultura, soccer, life, and culture. Today, I have the honor to have in the studio one of my good friends. I've been growing like pretty close to him as time comes. It's not just, you know, something like, and for me, every time I say that friend, actually, I do mean it. It's not just like, oh yeah, that's my friend. Like, no, like people that I call my friends, like they're my friends. And this dude, we can have talks, you know, messages. We share memes. We've also, you know, had a lot of pretty cool experiences, like in regards to this whole Austin FC community. I think one of the first person I got connected to was Rigo. So in the studio, I have Rigo Rodriguez Lira.
Lira.
Iba a decir Lara, pero no, ese es el Raúl Rodríguez Lara. Pero
el Juan Lara.
El Juan Lara. Saludos, Juan.
No me confundas con ese güey.
No. Hey, I appreciate you for coming, man.
No, pero saludo al Juan Lara. No se vaya a agüitar por eso.
Sí, y te va a echar todo el pollo gang,
Ya sé.
Y es, güey, sí están pesados.
Me va a aventar una bocina o algo chido.
Sí, güey. As you guys know, we are repping. You know, I would say for me, it was my first true love in soccer. I don't know about you.
We're rivals in the table.
You know, right now we're rivals. We might be fighting. We might not be fighting. You know, who knows?
It's our mother teams.
Our mother, what would you call it? The motherland teams.
Austin FC is like our girlfriend,
the side
lady. No, not the side lady. It's more family. You know.
Oh yeah, the side lady with a family.
Yeah. Like you can have both, but some people think you can't. So
yeah, it's we're in the soccer world we're polyamorous.
Mm-hmm.
I actually met a couple that were polyamorous not too long ago, and it's interesting because they're like, yeah, we stay busy because we're both polyamorous. I'm like, so okay. Yeah, but changing, you know, the story. A lot of dates. No, it's you know, it's cool to, you know, share a space with my friends. And then the reason why we are, you know, I'm wearing a team that I really love, América, and Rigo's wearing Tigres, is because Austin FC is, well, not Austin FC. In Austin, at the Q2, América and Tigres are going to play on December 10th. So the goal for this podcast is, you know, besides the little banter, is just to talk more a little bit about, you know, why you chose Tigres, when did you first started, you know, checking out Tigres, and also like your favorite player of moment that you felt like, man, it comes to your heart every time you think about it. Like, I am pretty sure, you know, with América, I have a lot of moments in TV, but I don't have a moment present. But on the other side, with Tigres, you have a lot of moments where you lived, you know, championships present and on TV. So we're going to talk about that. Before we go into, you know, talking about it, we appreciate Still Austin for, you know, the product that we got today. We are drinking the Fire TNT, and I will share the recipe when I drop the episode. What do you think?
It's really good.
Sí, like, salud.
Really good.
Sí.
Salud.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be this good.
I'm getting into mixology, you know, now that Austin has been coming through.
How long have you been mixing drinks now, I guess, with the nice sponsorship?
I've always, at the house, I have, I used to mix drinks at the house, but then I just really never followed through. But now it's just something that, like, I've been watching recipes and whatnot. And for me, literally almost everything is just limon, some bitters or something. So it's pretty straightforward.
You have to impress the guests. So
you have to impress the guests, however. Yeah.
Good. It's a good
drink.
Good mix.
¿Ya te puso pedo todavía no?
No, it's not like, oh, shit. Like, that's too much now.
Si hablamos de Guiñac, estás como, pinche Guiñac.
No, Guiñac's a legend, but I have things that touch my heart. I'll go closer to like goalkeepers because I played goalkeeper growing up, and it's just one of those things. You have to be a goalkeeper to understand how they react, how they live things, and how sometimes you can be the blame to something, right? But at the same time, you can always be a hero. It goes up and down real quick, but it's an awesome position, and you get to see the whole field. You get to kind of lead from the back, and making those saves, you win games as well.
So you can see with Stuber eye to eye. So are you the one to give some of the advice before the games? Like, hey, Stuber, vente pa acá.
No, I mean, I think Stuber is great. He's a great shot blocker. I kind of see with the game style we have, like I kind of see it's hard because we play similar to how Tigres play sometimes, and I see him playing with his feet, and I've seen Nahuel playing with his feet since 2014 kind of thing, and it's kind of like sometimes they got to take some risks. So I know, or I've seen it happen, what's the mistakes Stuber has made in the past. Now, he hasn't made that many, but it's one of those things where you're playing with that pressure. You're getting those players running at you. So you got to get used to that pressure somehow, and you get good at it. And I think Stuber's gotten a lot better this season at it.
I agree. I mean, there's a couple of mistakes that cause goals, but you know what? It's soccer. It's life.
And this year, like, who hasn't made mistakes?
Todos, hasta yo.
Yeah, same.
I forgot an SD card, and I was already like, I didn't have any memory. So you see me there, you know, erasing pictures, but that's a different story. Let's go into, you know, Tigres América. I want to hear, when did you first get involved with this whole Tigres culture, and, you know, when did you first started following the team?
Okay, so the reason I followed Tigres is because my mom studied at so Tigres is affiliated to the university in Nuevo León. So in the Monterrey area, the state is Nuevo León, right? And their big university is Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León. So they're the Autonomous University of Nuevo León. Kind of like Pumas, they're UNAM, Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México. So my mom went to that university, and I think it was just something like, hey, you're a Tigres fan. Since I was little, it was the closest team to us. We tried to see them a few times when I was younger. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. But I started, like, I knew I was a Tigres fan, right? So eventually you start following the team, you watch more games, you get closer to the team, to the players, to the different eras the team lived. And Tigres hadn't won a championship in 29 years, so I was able to be there and follow the team really closely in 2011. So, I mean, I was following the team closely already and kind of living and suffering through those bad years and, like, moments that we were really close to getting a cup, but we didn't get it until it came in 2011 with players that, you know, they're trying to be in the team where they have to be leaders through so many negative years. And not that it numbs you, but it's also like,
Te acostumbras.
No, like you're there with your people, right? So it's one of those things where you eventually get what you've been fighting for, and it's about that. That's what the sport is about. The culture of the people is kind of like the hardworking people of Nuevo León, and it was always that, like, that was what made people relate to the team, right? Like, not giving up, seeing it as a lifestyle, always coming back, and now we're seeing all that pay off because the fan base was there, because the investment is there, the moves that needed to happen, the people that needed to be in the same place were there to eventually get us to become a team that's more successful. And the players that we're bringing in, the team is now like placed as one of the biggest teams in Mexico, and not like we say that it is, but like the format, right? Like, we're pulling in all those players like América used to. Like, now we're the team that's like, hey, they want you over there, and players come because it's kind of going up the ladder to a more competitive team. But I've always seen Tigres as a place where, like, it's really hard to be a starter. Even if you're the star in any other team. Like, right now we have Nico Ibanez, that was the goal scorer in, I'm going to lie, maybe 2021. Before he came to Tigres, he was a top goal scorer, and he's benched to Ginac right now. So it's tough to be in the starting lineup. It's tough to get minutes. But the players that go there, like, they love it because of the fan base. They love it because it's an experience that's different, and it's feeling that closeness to the stadium. But also it's a big commitment, right? It's pressure, and it's having to give results, especially now that the team has made it up there.
So it took Tigres a while before 2011. But in that time, you guys brought players like Gaitán.
Yeah.
Who, you know, and I guess that's how I get to know like more about Tigres. I'm not a fan of it, but I've followed La Liga MX for a while, and it's one of the players that I like how he played because he's one of those players que tiene la pelota y he's okay with it.
Yeah, they're smart too. They lift their head up. They're like, we're going this way, and they make it work. And the Gaitán, you would see him just push up the field and just with such strength and like come off with shots outside the box and just so creative, and he had kind of that like slow magic kind of touch, not like exactly like Zidane, but like a slower pace to some things, but then he would just pull something off kind of cool. And then the next generation, which I was very close to, like my player was Lucas Lobos.
Yeah, I was going to say Lucas Lobos. It's like right after that.
And that was what was next, right? And you end up with Lucas Lobos, Damian Alvarez, like tried, tested in so many teams in Mexico, and he was always so good in all of them. And then you start building, right? But Lucas Lobos, like, people call me crazy, but he was the closest to a Messi in the Liga MX, right? Like whatever it was called back then. But like he would have that ball close to his foot. He would go up to players, take them on, and just create all this like awesome magic. He carried the team for so many years until we were able to get that championship. And then eventually, like, things got rough for him in his life. Like, I think he had like a kid that was a bit sick, and it was just harder to focus on the field as he was getting older, and ended up leaving to Toluca. And it was a little bit of a heartbreak, and then there were like some like misinformation of like, I only missed the tacos in Monterrey kind of thing, and it was like like what the fuck, like who said, right? Like, but people push things out of context. But then you kind of move on to the next ones, and then we had so many players after him. Like we had Sobis, we had Guerrón, like this generation where we were trying to compete, and we were in Libertadores, and it was pretty awesome. Damian was still there. Then eventually Gignac, and from there, we had Pulido for like
Alan
coming
Pulido.
Up from the youth system kind of thing. And the Pulido was kind of weird because they were kind of building the team around them. He actually scored in the 2011 final where we, after 29 years. And then he's like, I want to go to Europe and all this drama, but you eventually end up with Gignac in the club and playing semifinals of Libertadores. And then that year was like Jürgen Damm, Aquino, like all these players were like coming and filling up the squad so we can win Libertadores, and we still didn't get it because it's not just about players. Right?
I think it was a final against River, no?
So the first leg we played in Porto Alegre in Brazil. So we're losing that game. I think we had a long break. That's when all those players came in. We start the game and we're losing fast and we're down. And then Sobis used to play in that team. Yeah. And we'll talk about leaders too, because Sobis was like, what? This was my team. He started shoving his old teammates kind of thing. So it's everybody else around them as a team. Yeah. And this is, I say we talk about leaders later because right now we're living this through Austin FC. Like a loss of leadership, a loss of so many things, right? And you see a player come and he's like shoving his whole teammates and everybody around them is like, let's fight. So we come out of that game and I think it was a 2-1. And then we go back to Monterrey. And in Monterrey, we're able to be the home team. We have our people. I think that was one of the best Tigres games I've been to in my life. It was like, I went with a few friends with Porto Alegre.
In 2012?
No, that was 2015, I believe.
2015? Okay.
14, 15. And then we're there, and like the whole stadium is so committed. Like,
was Gignac part of this team or no?
So that I believe that was Ginak's second game and his first goal. So basically, we go home. We have all these, like, this full squad, full people, full crowd, and everybody is committed. Like, we're not going to lose tonight. Just that the way the people, the union, like the singing, the throwing it back. I was sitting on like kind of like the more expensive seats, kind of off in a corner. So it's kind of like the south seats are cheaper than the north end kind of thing. Over in some parts, kind of like those corner seats.
And here's the opposite.
Well, here it's kind of like east to west, and I think south is the lowest, but the north is not so expensive either. But yeah, like you could feel it all over the stadium, just that commitment. And then Ginak scores, and then from there, like we go off, and the team just controls the whole game. Like it's their house. Like no one's gonna do anything to them. We're winning 3-0. It's like the stadium environment's still going. They score one on us. The team doesn't freak out. They're just like, hey, we got this. We still got this. They keep playing. Final whistle. Like, you have like 100 mariachis just like flood the sidelines of the field. They're playing El Rey and all. Like, the whole stadium still singing after the game. You have Ginak and Sobis at that moment. I remember that. They were like in midfield, just like sitting, like with their shoes off, just legs out. And just sitting, looking at the stadium, looking at everyone, like, just around them. And then they're just, like, getting serenaded by the whole stadium. And they're just, like, living it, right? I mean, it was a crazy game, and we made it to the final. And then that's where it gets a little more complicated.
With River. Because
with River, yeah.
Do you think Gignac in that game against Porto after that win, do you think that built the precedent to what was to come for Tigres? Because you can win the championship, and that's fine. But, to win again, it can take long. But to have a team that is built with a leader like Gignac, do you think right there and there that was when Gignac fell in love with, you know what, Tigres for life, libres y locos?
I don't know if it was Tigres for life yet, but I think he was definitely understanding why he was there. Like, when when you're in the middle of this loudness and this union of a single place that's there for you and for, it's like he's a legend. That's why he's almost at 200 goals. Like he's, I think, like 8 goals away, or really close to 200 goals
in Mexico.
But in Tigres, just in Tigres.
I mean, the only team he's played is Tigres.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. It's hitting.
Yeah, te pegó.
Ya me pegó. Yeah, but yeah, so that's when I think he's not gonna live that. Like, European soccer is colder. They're gonna pressure. They're gonna push you when they have to push you. And he's lived a lot of that, but they live like kings in Mexico. Like they're earning dollars, spending pesos. They're, like, they're superstars over there. And in Europe, they might be as well, but they also, when they're not doing good, they're going to let him know. Like, he's gotten thrown some Big Macs and stuff like that.
Because it was called Big Mac back in the day.
Yeah. Well, like stuff like that, that's like, they're telling you, like, you're too heavy for the game, right? But he's also one of the top goal scorers in France ever, right? Not for the national team, but just as himself through the teams he's played. But it also showed kind of like, because we go on and we lose to River, and 6 months or however much later, like, we get to the final after that. And what happens in that final, like, we win it. Like, so it shows you, like, you just went through this really tough loss, because, like, losing a Libertadores, even just getting to it, and the runs that Tigres has in Libertadores, I don't know the stat exactly right now, but I think they got this really long streak of undefeated games. Like, they haven't lost at home in so long or ever. Maybe I'm not 100% sure right now, but it's somewhere there where it's like this really long streak that anybody that comes to play over at Tigres Stadium, they have a hard time. So just picking up from that and getting to a final and winning it, and in another kind of like crazy way. It was like that was the final against Pumas. I was able to go to that one in Seoul too, and we were winning the first leg 3-0. Like the stadium was so like people were invested with it. It was kind of like calm. There was some calmness to it. And then you go to close off in Mexico City, and it was like, how is this happening? Like, we go down 3-0, we go to overtime, we're 4-4 in overtime, and we go to PKs, and that's when Tigres actually wins it. But it's like, how do you go from a 3-0 team to, you can't even recognize your team on the field?
It could have been because they weren't probably used to that type of scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it playing away is like
it's tough.
I've asked like a player before, and it's like what is it? Is just kind of like, oh, you're not at home, the trip, the time. Like it's one of those things that is hard to really understand.
Like yeah,
they always blame the altitude and stuff like that in Mexico City, but and that's like stuff even like Ginaka said, like it's taking me a bit to get used to those games. Like I train at home to like play better in those games, but throwing you at noon in Mexico City and to play a game is
it's tough, man.
It's using their home field advantage and them more in Seoul because their stadium is so open. Like they use that, they squeeze at that out.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna go into leaders first. Well, not first, but later. But not like it's interesting because it took 29 years for you to experience some success. And in those 29 years, you could have been like, you know what, if this, well, not 29 years for you, but, you know, whatever time. Yeah. But you could have just chosen to, you know what, go a different route. You know, go for América, go for Chivas or Monterrey.
Just be like, oh, I just watch European soccer.
Or just watch European soccer. Yeah. But I think you know, you got to experience that. So you know, and not every fan is different, but I feel like you burned like that, you know, that glorious feel of winning championships. Like you burned those glory moments of the team because you took your time to rough it out in the tough years. Because I mean, 29 years is a good amount of time.
It's a lot.
Because you go into some descensos, you know, how many coaches went around, how many players went.
Like it wasn't like Tigres wasn't spending money. Like they were paying players, they were bringing players. It just, like I said, it wasn't that core of people that are gonna make you successful until it is.
Yeah, that's like say for me with América, you know, first I started watching América and I would say like early 90s con las Águilas Africanas y Cuauhtémoc.
Okay.
Kwao was the first player that for me he's my favorite of all. Like I would say Kwao is above any player, like in my opinion, like favorite wise, above any player that that I meet, even Messi, but you know, seeing I didn't get to watch soccer from when I moved to California, so that was like 3 years. Now like 10 years to 13 years. You remember players. But it's not something that you're like, man, like,
the smart.
I don't have the lingo. I don't have, I know some stuff, but it's not like at 13 years old, you only know so much. And then we went to Mexico, and I pretty much got to have another reinvent the passion or reignite the passion for América. Like seeing Cuau, I think, win the La Confederaciones. That was like the best moment ever because I didn't go to the final, but I got to go to one of the games in the Azteca against Bolivia, seeing in person, and then seeing that was like, dude, I'm in love with soccer. Like that was a moment where I'm like, okay, I love soccer. Like, this sport is awesome. I liked it in the past, but it wasn't as like más, no tenía un fervor. I didn't have that, like that fire.
Yeah.
But you come to, where you similar to you, like there was a time where you didn't win championships, and I didn't get to live those I would say 9 or 11 years. I only got to live maybe 3 years out of them. But I'm pretty sure before that, there was a lot of good players that came that were close to winning a championships or eliminados de la liguilla, but nothing, would get done. So, Carl leaves, and then the next one for me was Bam Bam Zamorano and El Matador, and that's when they won in 2002.
Matador was in Tigres too.
Matador was in Tigres, yeah.
When I was little, probably 5, 6, I think we got to see him play in some of those in Monterrey, and it was like shit, like this, like it was kind of that experience of like going to the stadium and seeing these players that we saw in like the 94
in
World
FIFA.
Cup. 98 was when he peaked a lot more, but yeah, it was pretty cool to see him, but I think he wasn't as relevant as a lot of players, right? And that's kind of what we were saying, like Tigres was trying to get these good players, trying to get in the moment, but it just wasn't working yet.
Dude, like for me, a memorable moment was the Libertadores run in 2000. That was like, we were a goal away from, going to overtime against Boca.
Yeah.
And that was, in the games, you didn't watch them live. Back then, the TV rights were, I think it was PSN. And you only watched a summary of the game after midnight. So I got to watch that summary after midnight, and I saw América losing. I'm like, man, that sucked. And I was supposed to go to the game because it was a couple of weeks before we came to the U.S. So it was like one of those moments of like, okay, I have my América love. And then Cuau leaves. So coming over here, you know what? You're trying to transition from one country to another. You're still keeping up with América. And then my mom comes in, and I'm like, I got a feeling we're going to win a championship with this guy. It took him a year, but we won it. And it was like...
And he played in Madrid?
In el Real Madrid and Inter. So...
big name, big signing.
Big signing, yeah. For me, it's like, hey, with this guy, we got to win something. Because El Coco Basile lo quería. So I got to experience the first championship. And then they win it again in 2005. But the 2005 one was with Cuauhtémoc. Yeah. That one right there is like, man, I think, football could be unfair and it could be cruel. And because of what he went through with his, his injury and everything that, pretty much an injury like that for me set him back a couple of years because he had everything to make it in Europe. Different story, but he still won the championship and had a couple of good runs, but they didn't really win anything until 2013 against Cruz Azul.
That was 2005 to 13, right?
Yeah, that was about 8 years.
8 years.
And Muy Muñoz.
Yeah,
cabezazo.
And it shows, like, for our friends up here in Austin, like, we're not going to be champions every year. Like, it takes years and it takes work. And the best we can do is that positive support. And, there's going to be things that keep coming up where we can, we'll be... The club will feel the pressure for them, but it's tough. It's a tough sport.
It is a tough sport, and I think
and in Mexico they can win it twice a year, right? Like
you can win it twice a year.
Over here it's once a year.
It's only once a year. Pero también allá es el pedo es de que you don't get the first place. It's like you still have to play la liguilla, and it's like the wild card, el repechaje. Whoever wins that repechaje has some momentum, an advantage for against the first place. You have to play in the next round. But going to like that, which player, or give me 2-3 players that you feel that gave you some leadership, or you think of leadership every time you think of Tigres.
Tigres.
Yeah, 3 players.
Yeah, there's. See, we should have had a script so I could make this easier for me now.
No. This is. I wanted to test your passion.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously Ginac and Lucas Lobos, like I said, were my... Like, Ginac he's a hard hit and he's, like, tough on his teammates, kind of but he's also friendly, and I think they love him, you know, and he shows them that love throughout the week, that when it's the game, he can get frustrated and say, dude, I know you can make that pass. Like, and he won't say it like that. Like, body language, he'll be like, come on, you know? And like I said, like, it's really hard because Ginac is a vocal leader. Like, I think Lucas Lobos was more of a little bit more silent, like that Messi profile kind of thing. But it's also hard for silent players to carry teams, like, and to really impact the players around them. So I'll give them that, you know, like, it's players that everyone around them knows, like, hey, he's fighting for us. Like, you can see it on the field, and he's giving you the right pass. He's fighting for you. But like, this is top Nahuel Guzman, no doubt.
And Nahuel,
no doubt.
Lucas Lobos, Nahuel Guzman, and Gignac.
In the more modern Tigres, but I mean, there's been so many more.
This is Rigo's.
Even
Rigo's.
Well, like right now we're going full circle because you grow up and then it's like, oh shit, this guy's back. Like, we saw Chima Ruiz coach Tigres, and when I was young, he was like playing a left back for us. Siboldi, like, it's like mind blowing to see Siboldi because he was that goalkeeper when I was young, and you see him now coaching the team, and you relive those stories, or stories that you weren't very present maybe for, but you still live them, and you remember him, and you hear his name, and it's such a unique name too. But it's like that guy fought for us when I was little, and right now he gave us a championship. He went to second division with us, and he brought us back. He was one of the leaders. He could have gone to any team. He played in the national team for Uruguay, or he was in it. I'm not sure if he was a starter, but he was going to be able to find the team. And he didn't have to play second division, but he liked the team. He felt in depth to the team, and he decided to stay. And in a year, they brought the team back up, and he still felt like he didn't need to do any of that, and he did it. And he still felt that to the team, that now he made us champions. And he talks about those things, that he always wanted to kind of give something back to the team. And it's really cool to see him in the bench and see him, the way he bonds with the players. Like, you can tell that some of those things that you might not remember or might not have seen of how he could have been a leader, like you can see him now on the bench, like the hugs to the player, the conversation type of thing, like this, he's a true leader. And I've seen some interviews of him too, and just the way he talks about the game, the way he talks about committing players, like he's playing a bunch of youth players that with no other coach, they were getting minutes, right? And it's not like, oh, he's playing one, like he's played several of them, and just giving that hope to them too, of like, hey, I need to keep fighting, I need to keep preparing to be in the first team, to get minutes. But there's opportunities for them as well. And then also just seeing all that, of like the way he also steps back and he gives the moment to the players, like but yeah, I mean, I'm hoping he stays for a while, just because of the style that I've seen he has.
I think for me, when you build a team that's surrounded with players que son canteranos, you know, you're homegrown, you got a better chance of winning the championship than when you bring in players that don't have the passion for the team.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it with América, where they won the championships that I've seen them win. They're with players that are like de la cantera de Americanista. Like, they have that in them, you know. So, I can, you know what? Huela que somos campeones nosotros y luego ustedes. Pero nosotros 5 y ustedes 1. You know, just like the way we keep it, you know, with you guys.
I don't know. No comments.
No comments.
I don't want to, you know, talk too much on the table right now.
On the table, hey man. you're drinking with some whiskey, you can talk. It's all good.
All I'm saying is, we're the champion right now. So
you're a champion.
We'll take another one. You know,
take another one. Orale.
It's fun. It's fun watching Tigres, especially right now. Just all these players they brought in, like they're bringing in all this young Mexican talent, which is the first time I see that build up, and that's before Siboldi. Like they're bringing Cordova, they're bringing Lainez, they're bringing Ociel. They have Angulo, like all these younger players that are they're gonna be something for Mexico soon, and they're committed to being in Tigres and living that passion. So hopefully they
Lainez y Cordova, 2 players that like that hurts to see.
You wanted me to talk, and
no, you're good. No, it's all good. It's all good.
Settle that.
So no. But because I want to go back to touching another different question, but like for me, my leaders are Cuau, and then 2013, 2014 when we won those championships, Sambuesa. Because he was a player que, underrated. No dabas mucho por él y se ganó con él.
Yeah.
And then I would say another player that deserved the, what football's cruel. It's not about deserving, it's about winning it. But Memo Ochoa, I think as a goalie, how he stepped up, at his age. It was one of those that it's one of those you see as a goalie, you see a player, taparlas como las tapaba él a su primer partido. You're like, okay, he's gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, he's
luckily
talented.
It happened. So those are my 3. El Cuau, I mean, we already know, es el que mueve las masas, las multitudes y hasta gobernadores. El Sambuesa, underrated player that came and se mataba en el you can see it, like
he carries teams. Yeah, you can
jalaba el equipo.
And he's one of those players, like you always see him going for it. He's going hard. He's always trying, and the rest of the team has to try with him because he can't be the only one, and he needs them, and he like whatever these players show, like it makes everybody around them better.
Yeah, and then Memo is just Memo, like he's time in America,
Was Cabañas or Chucho, were they like leaders like that, or they're just like
Cabañas
tearing up the goal?
No, Cabañas had a good run, but the unfortunate thing in El Barbar, that messed him up. But he had a good run. Like he was gonna be the striker for Paraguay in the World Cup. And Chucho, another unfortunate. He died a couple of months after leaving. And he went to, I think he played for Qatar.
Yeah, he went to Qatar.
But it's just one of those that de que, güey, o sea, y hasta la vida es cruel también, because I don't know, like, sometimes you make decisions in life or something happens, or, go to another place. The fact that, those two, their careers were cut too short.
Yeah, and, like, they were, like, players that you would see, and you're like, these guys are, like, beasts.
Because they were, like, Cabañas is a beast.
Like, if you go, like, foot to foot with him, like, you're on the floor, and Cabañas is about to shoot to go. He was, like, big, like, strong.
And then Chucho was something similar. Because I remember, Baloy was big in Santos. But I've seen, like, Baloy was big when he played for Monterrey. But seeing him try to go toe-to-toe with Benitez when he was in Santos, he couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
Like, he was just
and they're defenders. Like, these guys, they will just call them fucking tanks, they're tanks. They're, they'll go through you.
Yeah, it's one of those that now I think América, man, with Jardine, I don't know much about him. I know he won the Olympics con Brazil in 2016. We'll see. América right now, I think the unlucky part has been when they get to the liguilla y se desinflan.
Yeah.
They don't know how to respond to a losing score, or they don't know how to overcome any situation where they're ahí se hacen los campeones.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have the teams that has happened con puta madre, ¿cómo se llama? Con el Piojo, it happened with Piojo. It happened with Solari, and then it also happened with El Tano Martinez. I mean, 3 players that the teams are actually not, they're very good teams, but you just get to the playoff y como que les ponchan las llantas.
Yeah, and being up there, like, being América, like, you have teams that kind of get used to that pressure, get used to being up there and losing some, and now it's like, okay, I've learned how to deal with that pressure, but also you need consistency, and I think América keeps changing the coaches, so it's kind of like fresh starts, and it's like, where does that mentality get built, and when does it, right?
I think we should have kept Piojo. He's giving us a slap in the hand, like, hey, wait, cálmate.
Yeah.
Because with him there was something going on. But now give me 3 players that you said that, you know what, they were gonna make a hit, pero valieron madre in Tigres.
Oh, there's a lot, I guess. Like we had a lot of like randoms too, you know, like we got a guy, Luis Garcia, that had come in from Spain, and it was like, oh, he's our forward, he's Spanish, so you know, like bringing some European player, it's like, do you even remember him? Like you wanted that bad? No, but like there were more. Like we had a Uche. He came from sorry, I'm blanking out.
Spain?
From Spain, yeah. He came from what's the team Aquino played? Villarreal, yeah, Yellow Submarine. And he played one game. I think he was injured when we got him. He played a game. He scored a goal. He got injured in 10 minutes, and then he was out. And I mean, that was a pretty good goal percentage, right? But but yeah, I mean, we also at one point hired, and I'm kind of trying to think fast, but we had Omar Bravo for like a few games. Yeah. Like he got paid good
after he came back from La Coruña.
Yeah, I mean, we can go down there. We had Kikín, La Gata Fernandez. Like it's a long list. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but there were like I said, we were spending money.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember right now, but we would spend like millions. Like this is a big signing, and like the splash and nothing.
I think for me, the flops were Yalmiña. He came from Deportivo La Coruña in 2005, and then on the same team, Sebastián Saja. Ruggeri was trying to make him the starting goalie.
Yeah. While
Memo Ochoa was rising, and he actually ended up sitting him down. And the other one that I'm like, man, he could have done more is Lucas Castroman.
Okay.
He came in 2008, 2008, after Cuauhtémoc left. But it was a group of guys that came to, you know, replace what was, you know, happening before. And no hizo nada. Like, he didn't do shit. And it was a player in Argentina. He did some good stuff. I think it was with Vélez. But it's one of those that I'm like, damn, dude. Now, from the players that have left, Tigres, give me one name que dices de que, damn, dude, that one, ese sí dolió. To another team.
Yeah. I mean, I said Lucas Lobos already, so that doesn't count anymore. But, I mean, Florian, he had a good run. He had a lot of injuries. He came from France, too.
Yeah.
He was, like, falling in love with the team barely, and it was a lot of up and downs. But a lot of us wish he would have, like, been able to play. Like, you could see his quality, and it was taking him time to adapt and just not to get injured as well. Trying to think of another one. Like, I think we've lost players. It's just been these last 10 years kind of thing, that we've lost a lot of players that have given us their max, you know, like, so it's not too much, but I think one that actually, like, I hate him to the day because he fucking scored on Austin, Alan Pulido. Like I was saying earlier, like, we invested in that kid. Like, I think things could have been done a little better, and sometimes they get offers where it's kind of like, oh, I want to go, but I don't think through, like, after that he came and beat us with Chivas. He's like, it was just a lot of back and forth of like, oh, how he left. Now he's in Greece trying to play for Olympiacos, but Olympiacos sent him to another team, so they don't get sued. Kind of, it was like a whole back and forth. But then when he finally gets minutes, he scores on us in the final, and they beat us. But now we got him back.
Because he was playing with Chivas in that moment, right?
He was playing in Chivas, and like right when the game started, the second game, I think he scored on us. And then we were 2-0. We didn't make the comeback in that one. Well, we should have, but they didn't call it PK. So, yeah. That was a clear foul. Like in these BAR days, that wouldn't have happened.
That couldn't have happened. Dude, I think for me the one
Sosa, he got volleyed by that defender, like literally just boom.
Nah, there was a foul.
It was big time.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is.
We got him in 2022. It took a little bit, but we got him back. Yeah. And now he came with Kansas City, and he scored, or we went and he scored on us. So it's kind of like I would take screenshots of on my phone, and it would show Alan Pulido scored on Austin FC, and I would send them to my roommate, and I was like, saludos al Quicho. And I would send them like, look at this guy. It was like, look what he's doing.
Dude, that guy is a trip, man. Dude, I think for me, the player that left that I wish he could have stayed, and I was like, he was going to be our guy, Cordova. Cordova was like, dude, ¿para qué te fuiste? I mean, some way they transferred to like another team to close cycles. But I think that was a player that came.
So what was the full story with Cordova?
Solari.
But he was supposed to come up before Lainez, right?
He got injured. He came up after Lainez. Because Lainez went to Europe after the 2018 final. And then I think not the season after, but the one in the summer. That's when Cordova started ranking up. Everything was...
But Cordova's older, right?
Cordova?
Because I had heard it was like Cordova was kind of the runner-up, but he had injuries. So kind of like Lainez took over, and he ended up going out with Piojo. Yeah. And then after that, Cordova started playing once he was kind of gone. And now they're both champions.
Both in Tigres.
2023 champions.
Yeah.
That's Clausura, right?
Yeah. Last summer.
Last summer.
You were in Guadalajara. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit, but Cordova was the one player that I'm like, man, dude, ¿pa qué te vas?
You just want to talk about people beating Chivas. I get it.
Nah, I think if he would have won the 2019 championship, it would have given him a little more, love for the team. But hey, you know what? He got a bag, and he did what he did. Now, which underrated player you were like, cabrón, resultó? Like, this player actually ended up doing a lot better than I thought.
I think we had a lot of like players that were just like they would play anything. So I don't know if he's super underrated, but Dueñas was like crazy good. Like he was playing midfield. He could play offensive. He could play defensive. Mm-hmm. We stacked the midfield. We got Pizarro. We brought now Carioca. And he would just go play left back, right back. Like, he was all over the field.
He was what we know as Gallagher.
Basically. But, this guy played, I think, he played 4 positions, basically. Like, offensive, defensive, left, right back. He was going to play anywhere.
A good utility.
Nobody was going to bench him. Yeah. So, that's, kind of really awesome because you don't see that type of player. And coach is giving that opportunity, right?
For me, El Maza. Dude, whenever he went to América, I was like, what the fuck? And then he won the championship.
I didn't even remember he was in América.
Yeah, he was the defender next to Mosquera.
Okay.
And he played a pretty good run. With América, he did it pretty good. And I think he went to Cruz Azul afterwards, but the fact that he came from Chivas and we used to give him shit for playing with Chivas, and then him winning that championship with América, you're like, I'll take it.
And then like, who convinces him, right? Or like, how it's hard for players to accept that, especially playing in Chivas. Like, how do you
But it was weird because like that, like that 2012 transfer window, there was players that Efrain Juarez came to and he didn't do good. But there was players that we were like, what the hell? But I think it's the coach that made the team win con el Piojo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember if Piojo took over before or after, but Piojo coming in, they didn't win the first season, but the following season, that's when they won the 2013 championship. Now, I want to go into your, the finals that you've lived. How's it been like seeing the finals, in person? Because you've gone to how many finals?
So I went to for Tigres, I went to the 2011, and then the 2011 against Santos, 2015 against, blanking out, Pumas, 2016.
Esa sí dolió.
Against América. There it is.
And the little context behind it is, I told him I was going to wear this jersey, and he's also wearing the jersey where they beat us in the final.
Yeah. In their 100th anniversary.
In our 100th anniversary. So
like, all the stakes were against us.
Yeah. But we were also coming up for,
playing the Club World Cup.
The Club World Cup, but also coming
excuses.
in with not excuses. But I was gonna say coming in from I think Ricardo Peláez was in charge and Estela Volpe. We were like, I thought they were gonna bring a big signing, and they brought players like, ¿Qué pedo? I thought you were gonna bring Ronaldinho, or not Ronaldinho, but
he went to Querétaro instead.
But a player like that, But ni modo.
Then 2017 against Rayados, 2019 against, and some I went to both legs. 2019 against León.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the first leg of the Libertadores final in Monterrey. I didn't get to go to the River final in River.
Mm-hmm.
And then after 2019, we couldn't do anything, so we had to watch the CONCACAF final at home and the Club World Cup. The fan base was so ready to win a CONCACAF because it took us so long to win it, but also to go to the Club World Cup because Rayados kept shoving it in our face. But in our first one, we played Bayern in the final, so I don't think any other team has played the final. And then now
Necaxa played third place in 2000 against, I can't remember who. But
a few I think Rayados has played for third place as well a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chivas one.
2017.
I went to that one.
Okay. Oh, and the
in Chivas, in Chivas, and then the recent one.
The recent one.
See, I'm blanking out.
Then the América te madreaba.
I mean, I went to the América final. What was that one? 13, 14?
In the Azteca, 14.
Yeah, 14. Yeah. I went to that one too. Didn't we play a CONCACAF?
Yeah, and we won.
I went to one or two in Azteca as well.
We won both
against América, but then you came home and you lost in a pretty epic way for us.
Different story. Hey, we're not talking about that.
Best Christmas ever.
Best Christmas ever, man. That was tough, dude. Because you were like, we're going to win in Christmas. We had it, y de repente, valimos madre.
It had everything, the drama in that game.
The fight con La Palma Rivas. And
I was frustrated.
Yeah, I was pissed off at the end, dude.
Same.
I'm like, we're going to win it on their 100th anniversary. Nada, valimos queso.
It's one of those games, even I felt the same in this last Chivas final. We're doing everything right. We're just not scoring. And you can't win without scoring.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't get upset. Like I get like, well, I get kind of like upset, angry-ish. I don't know, because and frustrated because it's like, dude, we've got Chivas where we want them 90 minutes. We go to their stadium, another 20 minutes, and then 2 weak plays, 2 mistakes that like we make the mistakes. Like not a good defending in the corners, or they're shooting at us in our own small box, the 6-yard box. And then they score on us again, right? And like ways that we can't make those mistakes in finals. And it was too easy for Chivas, right? In America, it was like we have the ball, we have that possession, we're going, but it's not happening, right? So it's tough for Tigres sometimes to break through teams, but when they have nothing to lose, that's guess when the players step up and they're like, let's go do it. Yeah.
I think that's why I feel like Tigres won all those championships recently, because it's not, how you, like for me is how you finish the game. That's what matters. Yeah. And they've learned how to close the games, even in tough, moments.
And I tell people, like, I was watching that game, like I was in midfield all the way to the back, like, of the stadium, and I could see all the formations. I could see where all the players kind of went after the first half, and they came out with almost like 8 or 9 attackers. Like we had Pizarro playing center back when his regular position is in midfield. But he's kind of that player that instead of being subbed out, they shift him back. And then you have Luis Quiñones playing left back, and he's our left winger, right? Like he was like, what the hell is going on? And it was like, okay, we're going for it. And then aside from that, it was like, well, now they're rotating. Like now Lainez is defending, or now Cordoba's playing the back. It was like all these players were playing out of position, but every time they had to go up, they were going for it, and they're either gonna get through or pass the ball back and try again. And eventually, I mean, Chivas also made like crappy subs, and they took out all their attack because they thought they could square up just like they did in Tigres Stadium. They did a good job defending there, but it's over here it was like there was a need and something that Tigres players had to do to come out on top. Same in the América game. Like we go the full game tied. Yeah. We lose Torres Nilo like in minute 90. You guys come up 1-0. Palmera Rivas has to play dirty a little bit.
That happened, and then for me it was just los putazos que se armaron. Golz got a red card, and then Sambuesa, instead of taking him out, he left him in, and they ended up, we ended up losing because of two dumb decisions that we made.
Tigres got another red. Palmera Rivas got another red, our defender. But he took out 2 América players, so like that was like a good trade-off.
And he was fighting with Oriol Peralta.
Yeah, and the problem there was like we were dominating the game, but we couldn't break the defense. And when they're all stacked up with 11 players in the back, like it was really hard. And then now you're playing 9-on-9, so you have Jürgen Damm that you can kick a ball to, and he's going to rush down and get it. Like, you have the spaces now. Yeah, and eventually they found it after trying. Like, I remember Nahuel in the playing. He was playing in the center circle of the field. Yeah. And he was a pass option.
Yeah, because América was way in
the ninth player in attacking. Like, they would give it back to him, try through the left side, bring it back, try through the right side. So eventually Damian overcrosses. Dam picks it up, puts it lightly into the PK spot. Dueñas hits it in with his head. That was a hard moment there. They weren't taking it from Tigres anymore.
No, after that goal happened, it was just like, ya perdimos. Yeah, you can just see like it's kind of like the
like one against imagine if that would have happened in Azteca, like the fan base in Azteca just like boom, Like,
yeah,
that's
it happened against.
That's what happened in Chivas Stadium.
Yeah,
like.
It happened against Monterrey in 2019. ¿Cómo se llama? The tournament before the pandemic. We were winning, and then, we make a mistake, and they scored, and after that, it was like, we're done. Okay. Even in penalties, we were like, yeah. So it's like, América can play those tough games, but it's just sometimes, you know what, you can't come back from it.
And it's sometimes it's also like, who else can come in, who else can change the game, and it's
who else can change, and we didn't really have a player like that.
So I want to hear how you lived the PKs in the Tigres América final. Because I have my own story, but
I think for me,
I want to see how an América fan lived them.
They were winded out, dude. Like I just felt like in PKs in that moment, you're gonna lose. Because it's a mental thing. Yeah,
I mean the stadium was also going at it still.
Yeah, it's hard
to
go into PKs, getting tied, close to the last minute. So I think América lost a chance. Tigres was opportunistic y se la llevó. Because also for me, finals are about opportunities.
Yeah.
And if you take them, le hiciste.
Yeah, and. There's I don't know if you know this story because you're an América fan, but there was kind of like this story that I don't know. I believe it because it makes it more special, but supposedly they go to kind of like the huddle or whatever before the PKs, right? And you have like the whole team, and the story was that Nahuel told the team like, you guys score your 3 PKs, and I'm going to go and I'm going to block the 3 PKs. Like, let's fucking get this, right? Yeah. And that's just, I don't know if you've heard something like that, but
nah.
What happens after, right? Like, Tigres scores their 3, América gets their 3 blocked. Not even, I think, yeah, all 3. All 3. He touched all of them. He blocked one on the right. He blocked one in the center top. And then he blocks the last one, bounces up to celebrate. And the reason I believe that story is because I've never seen Tuca celebrate like he celebrated that championship.
Yeah, because of
he like literally this like Nahuel dives, he falls, immediately he's already up and running to celebrate with his arms stretched. The team's running at him to celebrate, and Tuca is running out of the benches. Like, I've never seen Tuca just like ecstatic. Like, he runs and he like moves people, then finds Nahuel and just hugs the shit out of him. It was like, I was like, that's the only reason I believe that story.
It's like true. It's like la del Piojo con Cruz Azul. He told them 5 minutos, because the 2 minutos y la reposición. So they believed it, like, oh, we got time, and they tied the game. And then, like, same goes with, tying the game almost last minute, the way they tied it. Now you go into penalties, even you play overtime. Ya los casaste. Now, one last thing before we go. I know we're Austin FC fans here, or, we follow the team. What is something you, as a, well, actually 2 things. One is, how does it feel seeing Tigres a mile away from your house in a stadium playing a game? And then the other one is, what is something you want to tell just the Austin FC fans to, about being patient, and knowing that, like, I don't know when we're going to get our championship, but, we're going to get it eventually. But writing it off those 29 years as a Tigres fan.
Yeah, I guess the first question, is this the 3rd time or 2nd time they play in Q2?
Tigres?
Blanking out. They played Austin FC.
2nd time.
That one was annoying. But it was like, stop asking me, like, where I'm going to sit.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. But it was cool just, like, going back and kind of seeing, like, Nahuel dancing to La Murga. I think there's videos of him dancing to Club de Cuervos. So I guess he wasn't like, you kind of see that, and he's from Argentina, so maybe he wasn't expecting the support to be that loud or to be that intense for a brand new team kind of thing at that moment. But I think just being able to see Tigres here at home, it's like it's awesome. Just we used to travel so much to go see Tigres in Houston, in Dallas. I went to Salt Lake City. I went to Vancouver. I went to Toronto as well. And we went to Del Diamond to watch him play too. So it's cool seeing them play in a proper soccer stadium, and just being a place that we feel comfortable at too. It's like I'm gonna live it different this time, because last time it was against Austin FC, so I was obviously in the supporter section with Austin, with the family, right? But I'm looking forward to seeing how I'll enjoy this time around, because I'm gonna live it in a different way. Just like we just went to see the derby in Houston, and I don't know, I slowed down a little bit to enjoy the game, so I'm trying to enjoy those moments a little more. So
que siempre se chinga.
yeah, but I love it, but I'm trying to slow it down and capture some moments.
There we go, man. That's cool, man. Dude, I think for me, as an América fan, seeing América a block away from my job is great. And one thing also is because, like, we're going to be covering the game. Photography, also going to be going to Tigres practice. Because, not because I'm a Tigres fan, but just because, when you get access to everything, you want to go capture everything. And you have a media outlet that at the end of the day, you have to be unbiased. Although I'm biased for América, but it's sort of a dream come true, because I'm like, okay, the next step will be to do the same, but in the Azteca. That's gonna be a goal, I'm actually I bought my own lens. I bought a lens that I'm gonna be debuting at that game, so it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. Just seeing América for me is always, a thrill. It's always something you enjoy, because you've seen him play for so many years in the TV, but seeing him at home is different. Even though it's a friendly, I know people are going to say, like, es molero, y van a traer los suplentes. I don't give a shit. Yeah. The fact that América is here in Austin at the Q2, it's meaningful, for someone like us that we can't go to Azteca every weekend,
Yeah. And that's why these games are, like, special, right? I think just it being so close to Leagues Cup maybe kind of impacts it a little bit, but those tours, and like that's why it's so successful over here, because there's something that touches the people that go to these games. That's why Mexico is such a big seller over here, and why and it always is, like, anywhere they go. But
except
it's
for
because
Monterrey, no traen mucha gente.
And River tampoco.
También River.
No more comment on
no,
that.
Comment on that. You guys didn't come through.
No, I mean about the teams. The guys not coming through, yeah. That they showed up in Houston a little more, but there were still more Tigres fans. But I mean, playing against like a South American team, I think, is a missed opportunity for them to see their team.
Huge missed opportunity. Well, after this game, hopefully, the turnout is great. But I do want to come back eventually and talk about the friendlies in Austin, because they have not been the best when it's not Austin FC playing. But that's going to be another episode.
I like that, though.
But I really enjoyed having other teams come play here.
Yeah.
I have fucking River.
Yeah.
Like the second biggest in Argentina.
I want Austin to play River, though. Like,
that'd be a good one.
That was the problem. Like, I didn't want to watch Rayados. I think that was the first game I missed at Q2. Also, the tickets never dropped. If I would have paid $30, but not 67.
Yeah, you gotta sell them cheap, man. You really want people to come? $15, and
it was a weekday game.
Micheladas. Yeah, that's how you're gonna get the people to come. And the last one.
You were asking me something else
about after 29 years seeing Tigres win. What is something you want to tell the Austin FC fan base in regards to being patient?
Yeah, I mean, like, we're out there, right? Like there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of people talking, but at the end of the day, it's not just a message as a fan base. It's a message to players and to whoever's there as a staff that's going to stay whenever coaches leave or whoever stays or whatever happens or ends up happening. Like we're a family, right? Like maybe some people get really frustrated and need to let it out in a way. Maybe some other people don't say it. But we're all frustrated and we're all living it. Some people are expressing it. Some people go to the game and support and keep supporting. And some people think, oh, they're not going to do anything because you keep supporting. But I think at the end of the day, we're all showing this emotion because we all really, really care about our team. And I think that's what we need to stop and take a breath and realize, right? Like we're not here to be divided. We're here because Austin FC gave us all a reason to be together. And that's what we need to stop and think about again, because we're thinking about what's in front of us a lot, but this is a long run and this is a long game. And we're only going to be successful if we keep supporting the team and we keep showing up for them. If we leave, like, what message is that sending, right?
Yeah.
Like, if we all divide ourselves to pick different sides, then we're affecting not just our community and our support, but we're also affecting the people that we're trying to not affect, the players. Like, everybody has a stance in a certain thing, right? But at the end of the day, we're all verde, so let's figure out how to stick together, and that's what's going to make us strong, because we already said it. We're not going to be champions every year, and the more we fight each other for our teams, the more we divide ourselves, right? But what makes us one of the greatest fan bases in MLS? It's not being divided. It's being there. It's being there for the team, and it's enjoying having this team that we didn't have and this space that we didn't have to share, and now we can all share it, right? It feels like, I talk to people and we all say, like, it feels like it's been 10 years. It's only been 2.5 years. So, but it's good. Like, we're living so many emotions because it's something we really care about and it's something we love. So, that's what we want that sport to mean, and that's what we want to use it as a platform for support.
Yeah, I think, I want to go into that too. I think we run into conclusions, pretty quick. A lot of the times, I know we want to win the championship soon. I get it. Trust me, I get it. And this is, me not trying to be a porrista or me being this, like.
You can still wait another 4.5 or 5.5 years to get to that age, right? I can wait 29, but
it's I think that the whole thing is just, at the end of the day, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, when it comes to a team, like, are you there to support, or are you gonna be there just to throw shade? Like, if you're not gonna really contribute y vas más para los madrazos, then why be part of it? I mean, everybody has the right to do whatever they want to do, but if you're not enjoying it, like, why be part of it? But if you, for me, like, also, if you enjoy just throwing shit at people, and like, okay.
And I don't think that it's about going away either, but maybe come paint TIFO, like, come do something come do something that's gonna make you bond, because that's where, like, you actually get to talk face to face. Like, typing from your house, like, that's easy, but actually being there, present, and working together with a mutual goal of doing something positive is what, like, it helps, it helps you experience, and it helps you understand other people. And it helps support the team, and, like, that positive pressure is going to mean something. And hopefully now with Rodo, like, it's going to mean some crazy signings, right?
Con el mafioso. Yeah, dude. Speaking of TIFO, I know you guys are working on a project with CollecTIFO. Can you share a little bit before we leave?
Oh, yeah. So you can go to CollecTIFO at CollecTIFO on Instagram. We have a sign up for. We're gonna make a huge mosaic. It's a 8-foot wall by 60, I believe, 60 feet. So basically, it's decorating the McAllen train stop that'll bring Austinites to the stadium, and it'll actually stop at the stadium, and you can get off. It'll make Richie's crossing from his job site to McAllen Place way easier, and
super
a lot
easier.
of people's. But yeah, I mean, it's a giant project we're working on with artist Jay Musax. He's leading it, and we're helping him bring in community. If people are stressed out, he keeps telling me this is just kind of meditative work. It's relaxing. It's family friendly, and anybody can do it, right? And it's community art, which is the same thing we do with TIFO, right? You don't know how to paint, come and we'll teach you, or come and start to learn, and then you do it 2-3 times and you know what you're doing, right? You grow in some technique, but we're building something together. So yeah, come out, and we have a sign up with a few dates. Seems like we're gonna add a few more, hopefully. And just get stuff done. It'll be fun to socialize and just enjoy and do something different.
Hey man, Rigo's the type of dude that, you know, when he says get stuff done, he really like means it, because he's, you know, there also putting the work. But man, I appreciate you coming, dude. You know, it's gonna be the one before the friendly. Sunday we're not gonna be friends. We're gonna be frenemies.
Today we're not friends either.
But
so
and today we're not friends. We're actually not friends from here.
We'll talk
till Monday.
Depending on the result.
Depending
Just
on
let
the
me know
result.
when you're ready.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm ready. But I appreciate you coming, man. I know.
Thanks for the drink.
Hey, Austin FC, Austin, still Austin. Everybody in Austin, thank you. Also, yeah, just check out the episode. Give us a share, like, and subscribe. You know, we're on all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Golz TV. If you guys want to be part of the episode, hit me up at OtraXFavor.com and fill out the request form or the contact info form, and you know we can talk about it, see what your idea is. Once again, thank you for coming, Rigo.
Yeah, man. Thanks for inviting me and for saying I'm your friend. It's mutual. So
Sometimes.
yeah. Also, put a disclaimer on there that if you're not an América or Tigres fan, don't forward through it. It's been a long talk.
But yeah,
a lot of names.
So if you're in America,
watch the end, message.
I think if they see the thumbnail of the cover, then they know for sure we're going to talk about a Tigre in America. That's the whole point. Leaving everybody out. Yes, this is on purpose. Yeah, se cuidan, se portan bien y arriba el América.